talking a mess, yeah.
A lot of people can't figure out why very beautiful women have low self esteem, but I'm going to break it down. Here's why. When you're a very beautiful woman, people kind of make it their point to never compliment you. And people even go as far as to try to cut you down and find something that's a flaw. So after people doing that to you for your entire life, it makes you feel like shit about yourself no matter how you look on the outside. So, like, this is why people are mystified. Like, oh, but you're pretty. I never thought you would have insecurities or low self esteem. Or you'll hear men say, like, oh, you could find some of the baddest bitches, but their personality is weird or they don't believe in us. Like, that's why. Let me give you a couple examples. I'm not saying I'm Tyra Banks, but here's some things I've heard over the course of my life, and I have talked to other beautiful women that have heard them too. Oh, girl, you look so pretty today, but you always do. That's nothing new. I literally just went to, I won't even out the person. I went to a function last week in which someone said to me, yeah, because you always posting them pictures on Facebook. And I'd be like, here, this bitch again. Or people who are like, yeah, I don't even have to compliment you because you already know. You already know you look good. Or men that are like, I've literally had a man date me and be like, yeah, because I don't want to seem too thirsty. I don't want to blow your head up.
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting when you dating somebody and they tell themselves, or their dating advice throughout life has been to not try to give you a big head. And I guess that's in hopes of, like, this is typically a tactic someone with fear of abandonment would adopt in hopes that you would be the one to fear them leaving you and not the other way around. Like, having you second guess yourself because maybe they feel like you're out of their league in some way, or like they feel like if they make you feel too good about yourself, you would then do with that knowledge what they would do if they feel really good within themselves. Like, there's a lot of people, man or woman, but there's a lot of people that feel like once they get their money up, or once they get to a place in life to where they're not using someone as a placeholder until they get there, or like when they get anything or everything they want, they're going to be able to have anyone they want. If they can get you, what else can they have? And instead of like actually dating you for you, they're dating you because it's something like a trophy, or like it's telling. They're looking at life like a game rather than something quote unquote real or of any true importance. And they feel like their personal rules and their opinion of what the game of life is should apply to your life. About their success, or like who they are. Some people feel like they can't date a certain person because like something's wrong with them because they can't get someone in their league or like at their level, to whatever people think their level is and who they should be with. And then some people feel like yeah, like if they're with somebody that's too good for them, they must have money, or like they must be like rich, and it's not just them liking one another. I don't know, I never believed in trying to humble somebody just because you feel like, you know, or trying to pick at somebody because you feel like they're too good for you, or they would just take advantage of you if they feel at their best, because people shouldn't have to have this insufferable subconscious about themselves just to feel like normal, or feel like everybody else, or feel like they're worth decency or normalcy. Like, first of all, people shouldn't idolize people just because they think they look good or they have something that they want or really, really like. Because you just don't know what people been through to get things that they have in life, or like, with like, you know, not everything is a fast lane, or like robbing and scamming and killing and whatever else. Like, a lot of people really work hard, or like go through a lot to have stuff that they have. And yeah, just because somebody looks good or looks like they might be popular, or like they have it all, or this and that, does not mean that they don't have problems that you probably can't see or don't know about, or things that they can't control. Like, you know, for example, a lot of attractive people attract really good and really bad people because people either idolize them or hate them for no reason, like, you know, out of envy or just out of spite. I don't know. Or just because they feel like they're not a human at the end of the day. Like, they just feel like somebody that should feel good about themselves and doesn't need any more compliments than they probably already get, which is assuming. It's plenty of love to go around. Like, it costs nothing to be kind because you just don't know people's life and their internal struggles or external struggles, like with people that they run into and assumptions people make about attractive people. Like, it's just kind of odd. It's not going to get you anywhere assuming about someone. And that's kind of why, a lot of attractive people, they spend a lot of time alone, or like if they do have certain people in their life where they're really picky, it's probably people that really get that, or the whole 9 yards about just being generally attractive, like not even just looks, like just their aura, or like their personality, or their whatever they offer to the world that's typically attractive or just helpful and things like that.
These concepts of you're beautiful, so I don't want to tell you so that you get a big head.
And then, like I've said a lot of different times, there's nothing wrong with loving yourself. I feel like people make people feel like, if you're not, I don't want to say relatable. I feel like people feel like if you're not self-deprecating enough, or like normalizing always finding a problem with yourself or others, or something that you choose to do or pay attention to, or like basically people just normalize always finding something wrong instead of like being optimistic or like kind to themselves or other people. And there's a lot of people that just move like that. Like, even if they don't outwardly express it, there's covert ways that people can be really just shameless and just either jealous or self-loathing. And loving yourself is not equivalent to being conceited. Being humble or having humility is great until it becomes okay to only look for the bad side or something wrong up front with others. Hence the saying, oh, they're showing their true colors only when something or someone is upset or doesn't look their best, expecting a bad outcome or expecting something to fail, and generally assuming someone or something to be too good to be true. It doesn't mean like you think you're better than anybody, or like, now there's some people that do feel like they're better than people just for their looks alone, or they have this lifestyle presented to others that they assume the next person would like kill for or would want in comparison to their life, just because they feel like that's what they want other people to see them doing so bad, so much so that sometimes people don't even enjoy their own lives or like enjoy their moments in life because they so badly want other people to see that they have the latest bag or like the latest car, and then bills are piling up, or like their actual spiritual health or their actual mental health is in shambles because it's like they're just too focused about what other people think about them. And a lot of times people rent things, and they have things like very expensive things, like I'm talking about cars, houses, etc., because well, you can, and then nobody's the judge of you. Nobody's like your mom or your financial advisor, or like, you know what I'm saying, you only live once and all, but it's a difference between living for you and living for other people. Like, I've been there with seeking validation in my own way, and I learned very quickly it's a hollow victory to want to prove or receive validation that you're attractive if you don't actually feel attractive inside. But now it's a different story because I like don't ask someone if they think I'm pretty, or I don't ask myself because I just tell myself that I am, and I know that I am. And 9 times out of 10 people can tell when they're either living for other people or jealous of others. It's a difference. Like, it's a big difference. I don't feel like somebody loving themselves should be so looked down upon, because a lot of people are so dependent on validation from other people, like likes or views, or like if people are on their like about how bad they want this and how bad they want that. And some people literally live to make other people jealous or like feel like, aha, you don't have this, or like it's literally not for like the genuine enjoyment of their life and assets. It's like they'll still make a point to say, you want my bitch, or you want my life, or like just crazy assumptions and stuff that are just really telling about somebody's core, and their motives for like anything. It make you not even want those things sometimes. Like, I don't even want your compliment. I don't even want your life. I don't even want what you are breaking your back to have and putting the next person down for, because I swear I'm so much happier just actually appreciating the smallest things in life, like eating and a roof over my head, and just my mind and my mindset on a lot of things and my view on a lot of things. It's like I literally have so much fun in my company. I protect it with my life, because those same people that try to pick at you and poke at you and constantly be paying attention to you or being around you, or they need your attention in some way, even if they're being horrible to you or like thinking horribly about you, they're literally energy vampires. Like, they have nothing better to do with their life, and just if they can't beat you, they'll try to join you. That's where a lot of backhanded compliments and stuff like that comes from. You know what I'm saying? Because people think it's normal to be mean, one, and then compete with others. And while there's like a huge portion of the internet where there's, or just life where people don't live like that, like they genuinely are like okay in the head, there's still like this huge spiritual war going on with people. Like, they don't know who they are. Like, they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know love. Like, they don't know life for real. They think if life looks a certain way and everybody else is doing it, or other people are doing this or that, that's what life is. Basically validation, or like cool points. Like, it's kind of strange, because sometimes I've noticed I'll be minding my whole business in my life, and it's just like people want to know too bad what you're doing every day, or like what your plans are. And like, honestly, sometimes people will only check in on you simply to compare their life or their plans to yours in efforts to make you feel like there's something wrong with just loving you and your company or your personal choice of fun and what's beautiful. And you can tell when they're just obsessed with knowing what you're up to, or like obsessed with asking you every single day, and how do you feel and what do you feel like, while trying to tear you down, because they feel like, how are you so happy on your own? Like, they don't get it. Like, how are you so okay with nothing? How are you so grateful? And like, they assume that you're like faking it, and then you don't deserve to feel good about yourself even when you do, because you're just not seeking their or validation, period. Kind of almost want to stone you for it, or like make you feel like something's wrong with you, when like they're not looking at themselves. They can't look at themselves. You know what I'm saying?
But if no one ever tells you, then what happens? Right, you think you're ugly, but you see how it's actually gaslighting, because then you look in the mirror and you know you're not ugly. It's kind of like this. I have a rule of thumb that I have figured out over the course of my life. I'm almost 40 years old. I didn't figure it all out. The days that my outfit is the most slamming is when I'll get the least compliments. It was one thing if I wore a regular kind of cute outfit, then you could compliment me because you felt like I was still right.
And like I was saying, a lot of people, they like to feel, if not better than you, then at the same spot as you. So sometimes people like when you're doing just as good as them, but not climbing up or getting better than them. That's just sometimes. And when I say getting better than them, just naturally adopting a better mindset in life, or moving on to healthier habits or hobbies, and being kinder than they probably are to other people, or they appear, and it just naturally makes them look like the bad person they want you to feel like so bad. Naturally, people feel or like to feel like they're needed.
But
And
if
we're
it's
social
too
creatures, so
deep
we're
and I
taught
went too fly
that we
with it,
should
now it
need
triggers you.
outside
You feel some type of
validation
way,
to
so you don't want to
continue
compliment
a
me.
so-called balanced and That's
Oh,
normal
what I'm
life
saying. Like,
when it's really
a lot of
something
people,
that should
they're in
confirm
like
how you
silent
feel,
competitions
really,
with
rather
others.
than like define
Like,
how you
some
feel.
people are used
And a lot of
to.
people get it twisted.
Some people are. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people, they're in like silent competitions with others. Like, some people are used to. Some people are used to being, or feeling above or below like the next person simply for clothing or shoes or whatever.
And this is where sometimes you run into maybe like a birthday event or the grocery store, and someone maybe dresses really nice for someone else's birthday, and they're invited to their party and they dress really nice, and then the birthday person tells the person that dresses really nice that they're attempting to get more attention than them or outdress them, and it makes no sense. Like, why wouldn't you put in your best effort if you care so much about getting all the eyes on you or all the attention? And I've never had a situation like that. I never cared that much, but I've seen all types of stories online like that, and it genuinely doesn't make sense to me, because what are you saying? I mean, to me, it just feels like it goes to show that that person that they're worried about grabbing attention and just naturally grabs attention, whether they try too hard or not, and then that person is just showing signs of envy. They're already content with themselves, or just they allow themselves to appreciate and accept their beauty outside of the silent competition that others are in, to be more or less humble or be like perceived correctly.
Assets, right? And then when someone they don't expect to have much or be much is more than their assumption, it causes a glitch in their matrix, in their, like, with their ego.
Never assume that accentuating your beauty or living fully in your essence is something to be seen as negative. And honestly, sometimes no one wants to truly admit when they're lacking self-acceptance or simply minding your business, and they'll refuse your self-acceptance and expression in the same sentence, so that it's not a them problem at the end of the day.
It totally kills their assumption, and then they have to like be forced to think a different way than they're literally writing in stone, or that they're used to thinking. It's almost like you're insulting people for being nothing like, you know what I'm saying, what you should be like.
If you're not trying to perceive life the way someone else does, and you're just content with yourself wholly, it literally forces people to look within, and that's usually something they probably avoid doing if they're already so vain.
And it's scary, because then, yeah, people have no other choice than to like change how they think, or like look within, like what's really wrong with them, or like what's good with you. They purposefully try to tear you down so that you don't get a big head. So I'm gonna just tell you this: fuck these people. Stop believing them. You're not crazy. You are beautiful, and people just are fucking bitter and don't want to tell you that. So I invite you to raise your self-esteem and believe what you see in the mirror, because you're not blind. You're beautiful. Comparison is the thief of joy. All right. Like, literally, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You don't even have to have anyone tell you that you're pretty or amazing to feel pretty or amazing. It's pretty much, they're just telling about how they feel about themselves, which is, they're always comparing themselves to the next person. Just simply.
I love how passionate that creator was. Shout out to her. Again, I really like her. And honestly, I think that's really real. And if you're watching that and you can relate and understand her immediately, I hope that you don't feel like you're alone or insane by how your social dynamics can be. What she's describing is exactly why people get so confused as to why very beautiful women can also have very low self esteem. Because on the outside, it looks like you're untouchable, or at least you should be, rather. What people don't see is the constant subtle humbling, the constant backhanded energy, the constant micro, like, let me break her down a little bit so she doesn't get her head too big. Because when you're pretty, people will try to tear you down.
But yeah, confident people have no business trying to tear down the next person to feel better. Hence why genuinely humble and confident people attempt to unhealthily humble themselves or accept copious amounts of staying underground, basically less dependency on external validation, because it would take away their true desire really to just be an equal to others and not put on a pedestal they didn't ask to be put on.
When they feel uncomfortable. And sometimes nervous energy, like I can admit, like I feel like sometimes people do that because they're bashful and they're shy. It's not always bullying. Sometimes compliments just come with a twist. Sometimes it's like, oh, you already look good and I don't want to blow your head up. And sometimes it can also be silence. People just have this weird way of affirming how you are perceived in society.
Yeah, just because somebody's attractive and stuff like that, or you feel like they gain a lot of attention, doesn't mean they necessarily need or want the wrong types of attention. Like, basically, social media is meant to be seen and heard, or felt and understood. Like, it's meant to share moments. Like Instagram, a lot of these slogans for these platforms and stuff is to share the moment or enjoy the moment. So a lot of people take it upon themselves to use like video sharing platforms or photo sharing platforms to fucking share their life and not necessarily give validation. Sometimes people have accounts only for their families, or like for a bigger audience, like just to reach people that could use some things that they're saying and is helpful, or just see people enjoy their life. You can learn or be healthily influenced of how beauty can be different than what's typically defined as or expected as beauty or beautiful. And I'm the type of person that likes to see people succeed and be happy, even if I'm sitting in my room or sitting at the corner of McDonald's and I'm broke as fuck, or like I'm sad, or like whatever's going on that day, whether I'm happy or like really down bad. I just never take it upon myself to just run up online and bully people or mess with people, or like look at somebody and envy what they have or who they are. Like never
Assume that you've already had enough. And over time, it just does something to you.
And also, I don't assume that someone pretty or some person that's really attractive is like typically a snake, or like somebody to not trust solely for their looks. Like a lot of people learn things from social media, like tips to avoid certain really messed up people, because there are a lot of vain messed up people in the world, that's simply put. And there's people that will dog people for no good reason outside of just I don't even want to say. Not every good looking person has bad motives or comes from a place of like, or acts out of a place of hurt, even if they've been hurt a lot or been betrayed a lot, or like assumed to be someone that uses people, or you know what I'm saying, like there's a lot of things people learn, like terms and things to look out for and tactics, and everything's a red flag before you even really get to know somebody, and hearsay and gossip and oh, somebody that looked like you before has acted like this, so I'm gonna just assume you act like that because you look like this. Or I know that girls that are like this, or like if they're light skin or dark skin, they act like this, and they think like this, and they move like this just because of their complexion, or like their size, or like how they live their day-to-day life. Like it's like they'll learn terms like Jezebel or narcissist, and they're just literally labeling the out of people so soon over like small mistakes or tendencies, or like there's no gray areas. Like, people are just judged and wrote off so soon, and like cancel culture is like really toxic and really annoying, because people be forgetting that people are still people. Like, and there's this AI shit where, I mean, yeah, like, it's getting a little scary to trust what's real anymore. It doesn't mean like everything about yourself and be this fake happy all the time person, or always know the answers to everything, like, and make sure that when you talk, everything that you say is likable, or that, or you know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean like live to be liked. It means, you know, love, like, accept your height, your look, your personality, where you are, what you need to work on, things that you're, you know, willing to accept and admit, or just, you know, you can choose whatever type of life you want for yourself. But I just would never get some of the things that people kind of take and run with. Like, you never see somebody's full life from social media, or from somebody said about them, or from how you feel. Like, literally your perspective is only that. And then on top of that, sometimes people are going through a rough time in life, you know what I'm saying, regardless of how their life looks. So even if it looks really bad and they feel really good, or it looks really good and they feel really bad, or it looks really bad and they actually feel really bad, and so on and so on. And it's like, it like I said, it costs nothing to be kind and be respectful to people, no matter what, because you never know. Like, some people, they look so fine and they're great, and then one day they're just like gone. Because there was really a Netflix series kind of like this, where there was a main character, and that character decided to really self-delete, and she really had her reasons, and people just thought it was comical that she so-called blamed people for why she did that to herself. And I'm not going to say what I agree with or don't agree with, because I personally don't agree with taking your own, you know, self-deleting. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's way more empathy people could have for situations like that in real life, and understanding, even if you know that you're not to blame for somebody's choice like that. And people assume that because someone, and this is in real life, if someone has a certain level of beauty or accolades or a lifestyle that's, I guess, basically heavily desired by others, they just have no reason to do like something like that to themselves, when they can't really see past what they're seeing. And I don't know, people need to dig into that a lot more. They had such turmoil behind the curtain of life, and then people try to figure out why would somebody take themselves out, or etc., and stuff like that. And yeah, it's not worth it to think everything's funny, or feel like people don't have feelings just because they have a lot of money, or like a lot of followers, or like they're so damn busy. You feel like you could just be mean from behind a fake account or something, because they'll never see it. It's like, and yeah, how somebody looks is not everything life is about. If someone has a life that you want, or you feel like they have features, or friends, or a certain amount of money, or things in their life that you want, please remember there's no such thing as a life better than yours or worse than yours. And then there's really always a low for every high. Like, money and looks and items will never replace matters. And money doesn't the feeling of people actually supporting you and actually caring about you, even if it's from a distance, even if it's just your mom or your family, or one friend or three friends, or yourself, or nothing can replace that, like, actual feeling.
And this is why you see pretty women who are overly humble. beautiful. They overly self-depreciate themselves. They overly prove that they're not full of it. They're like, yeah, I mean, I'm not the prettiest, everybody's pretty. They say things like that. It's because they've been trained that confidence in beauty gets punished. So they don't want to be the one to affirm themselves. And the thing is, most pretty women are not walking around all day saying like, oh, I'm pretty.
I remember I was talking to somebody one time, and they said, you shouldn't be the one to tell yourself that you're cool, or well, they didn't say attractive, but you shouldn't be the one to say that you're cool or successful. Other people should tell you that, and then you'll be successful. And it's like, I'm gonna need you to think a little deeper than that, Gia. Know who you are before you are who you are to other people, right? So it's like, if you say something enough, eventually it'll stick, and then that'll just be you, like, regardless of what people think of you. Like, if I think I'm rich, and every time I check my bank account, or if somebody's pocket watching and they see I have $0 or $10 or $100, I'm rich in spirit. So you have to really have the mentality of basically being who you want to be already, or just being that girl or that guy, because it's gonna show in your, how you feel about yourself and how you make other people feel, and when people are around you, they can feel like your energy versus words, or like your actions do speak for you, but a lot of times people misperceive or misunderstand people's actions, just like I said, off of experience or like lack of knowledge and stuff. It's really good to really understand thyself, and then it will be easier to understand people instead of like assuming, and really listen to people, and not feel like you know everything already. And I'm not really trying to nitpick or have anyone paranoid or over analytical or like psychoanalytical about interactions, because sometimes you can honestly brush a lot of these things off, but this is just more of an in-depth look at how people say something, whether they're being surface level kind to you or surface level mean to you. It's like how somebody says something really does make all the difference in what they're saying. Because if someone says, I love you, and it's like really like sour like that, they don't really love you, or it's just hopefully putting an emoji or something would make it feel more realistic. But if they really, even if they say it dry or plain and you feel like, okay, they probably mean that, or you just know that how someone feels about you, that's way more important than making it look a certain way. And then if someone's saying they don't like you or they hate you and they're just in the heat of a moment, I think really deep down there's some way more to that. And then a lot of times people just don't mean what they're actually saying, like whether they're complimenting you and it's backhanded, or they're just picking on you and being mean, and actually they really want to be like you because they just don't know what to do with those feelings. And being kind probably was seen as weakness to them at some point in their life, so they'd rather be picky and strange and weird, and hopefully you pick that up. Because I don't know, I notice a lot of people that try too hard to be or over humble themselves, they actually really deserve a lot more credit than they give themselves, because they tend to be the ones that other people really put on a mask to be like, but a lot of people don't really see them because they're kind of going through like this imposter syndrome, and they let other people take the torch for them, or like take the crown for them, because they just don't feel like they deserve feeling good. Like other people should have to tell them that, like yes sir, yes ma'am. And it's like, real confidence don't really need people to tell them everything about themselves, or like who they are, or like what to do. Like a lot of people, they don't have a clue who they are, what they need to do. They just want to listen to their friends or their partner, and what do you need me to do to like me more, or what do you need me to do for you to want to be around me more. Like when people buy people's love and like buy people's attention, and and try to like um just try too hard to be loved and liked. It's like it's very empty and sad and vain, and then it just goes to show like getting other people's validation or like attempt to validate you would never actually make you feel good. If you're constantly seeking it, that means it's like it's insatiable, like it's going nowhere, but in one ear and out the other. Like you might as well love yourself, because at least it's inside already. Like it can't go nowhere for real if it's just regenerating.
In fact, when a woman is pretty and smart and kind and grounded, it almost amplifies everything. And she likely knows that she has a strong presence. And it's just unfortunate that sometimes it can trigger people. So instead of her just being allowed to exist, a lot of times she may get that backhanded compliment, or people withhold praise from you.
I feel like I be calling that like the Cinderella effect. Like when somebody is like basically a real ass human being, or like even if they're a guy, right? Like I'm saying, if they're really, really, really kind and attractive and cool and genuine and stuff, it's a little triggering, because it almost makes people feel like they work so hard for nothing, or like they tried so hard to get people to like them just for them to still not like themselves. So apparently it just doesn't make sense to people in their 3D thinking and in their world that people can just be. And yeah, like you'd be surprised, a lot of people that have way more than you, and they have this so-called perfect life, sometimes they can literally feel envy towards someone's beauty or kindness or potential, and jealousy, fear of losing their position in the life that they acquire so heavily through external validation. In that regard, they can sometimes be so jealous they attempt to diminish the beauty in you, or belittle you, or cap down your potential, or make you out to be some hater or some villain that you're really not, when you're not really focused on others as much as they assume, or looking at them in that sort of way, especially if they've been taught that your beauty and how cool you are and what you have and your successes can only be, again, externally validated. Like it has to look like what most or what other cool people have or what other people do. Then you're made out to be this weirdo, and you're just totally not so pressed to have an identical sort of approach or life as someone. You're made out to be like a loser or like lonely and miserable, when that's not and never was the case. And it's actually telling how lonely they possibly feel in their own life, because it's not something they genuinely appreciate or want. They just want others to see it that way. Like, real. Like it doesn't, it genuinely like boggles people to feel like everything that they taught themselves was essentially just a lie, and your truth would be like just like yeah, it would make them feel stupid.
Or they just need to make it clear that, oh, girl, you're pretty, but be humble. They just want you to make sure that you stay in your place. And this is when or they just need to make it clear that, oh, girl, you're pretty, but be humble. They just want you to make sure that you stay in your place. And this is when it can become a really weird mind warp, because in your mind, you can know that you're pretty and you can feel confident in the way that someone feels confident about being a great teacher or being a great mom or being a great math student. Like confidence in one area is normal. But when that area is beauty, suddenly it gets treated like arrogance. People don't blink when someone says, oh, I'm really good at what I do. I'm a great plumber. I'm a great car technician. But when you say, yeah, I am really pretty, all of a sudden you're villainized.
You're villainized and also seen as self-absorbed, especially if someone doesn't agree with you and refuses to allow you to accept that your opinion is different from theirs or accept your own beauty just because they're not validating you, and you only invite into your life those who possibly agree with you. Then they're met with this dilemma of their ego feeling a little destroyed, or the relentless effort to still be right, and they feel like now they're missing out on something or a part of life that they swore that you were missing out on.
Like, let us remember what happened to Talia. What was her name? Talia Breyer, I believe. I genuinely think part of that is just because beauty just feels scarce to some people. It feels fragile. It feels like something that so many people can crave but don't necessarily have access to. So when someone is this effortlessly, it can just stir up insecurity. And it's not because you did anything wrong. It's just because your presence can highlight something in somebody else.
It's like when you're like a mirror to people, like I wouldn't say like an actual mirror, it's like a metaphor. Like when you're authentic and you fully accept and love yourself, that acts as a mirror towards someone who is not authentically themselves or self-accepting, and they may try to destroy that acceptance in you, which would expose their own inner chaos because they're just refusing to actually see the part of themselves that they're not accepting, which is you embodying accepting self. And also, a lot of times, if someone is triggered or bothered by anything that you're saying or how you feel about yourself, it's just a matter of the shoe fitting, not so much you being the problem. Or there should be no problem in anything that you say to enforce that sort of confidence in others or encourage that in others. When people can see in you what they desire, what they want for life, and then they maybe try to imitate you, or like they've been imitating what they think beauty is. When someone is imitating what they think beauty is, or going out of their way to appease to what others think the beauty standard is, or someone, let's say, chasing someone that they find more conventionally attractive than you, and going out of their way to make you feel less than someone else because of something as peewee as looks, they're sadly met with your true opinion of yourself, no matter how hard they try, and it only makes them look desperate to be mean and reveal how beautiful you actually are. It really does force people to look at themselves.
And I'm not saying that people are evil. Most of the time, people don't even realize that this is how they're making you feel. It's just an ego thing. It's a projection thing. People are just uncomfortable around you. But that doesn't mean that it's fair. And you're allowed to feel hurt by that. So if you don't know how to protect yourself emotionally, you can start to internalize that energy, and you'll start shrinking. And you may even start to doubt yourself. And you may even think, like, maybe I am too much.
Yeah, and then people feel like if they do X, Y, and Z to feel good about themselves, and it still doesn't genuinely make them happy at the end of the day, and then you're doing A, B, and C to feel good about yourself, and you seem to be so okay, and this and that, it really reminds people that like they've been probably doing all the wrong things, or like they're wrong, and nobody wants to feel like, they're wasting their time. Like, imagine trying so hard to make yourself feel good or make somebody else feel bad, and you're just wrong. Nobody really wants to feel like a bad person, or like feel like they're wrong. They already feel wrong inside when they're endlessly chasing that validation, but it really does confirm things that people have to work on outside of what they already do or what they already think is the way to success. And then it's just like having to relearn what success and love and self-love really is. That's a lot of work, and A lot of people don't even feel like they can do that, so they just like stick to what they know.
Or they'd rather tear you down if the actual work for self is too far for them or out of reach. If they can pull you down to their level, that's a lot easier.
And they'd rather not look like a fuck up or like fuck up.
Or maybe I do need to turn it down. And that's where it can get dangerous because it's not about your ego. This is about not absorbing other people's perception of who you are. Because the truth is, you're allowed to be confident. You're allowed to acknowledge your beauty, and you are allowed to exist without apologizing for how you look. It doesn't make you cocky. It doesn't make you narcissistic. It just makes you self-aware. And if someone feels threatened by that, that's a reflection on them.
My least favorite thing for somebody to say is, "Oh, she thinks she's all that," or "She's trying to get attention," or she thinks she's better than us," or "You think you know everything." Yeah, like she just said, it's very telling. Because, you know, more than half the time, does someone that honestly knows plenty about themselves and the world, they don't act like they know everything. They don't say that they know everything or like are better than anybody. Like, nobody's in competition except you. Or they'll say, "Oh, they just can't find someone to love them, so they love themselves." There's something really ignorant.
And I'm a firm believer in letting people think how and what they want to think. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people give way less credit to people who are single. Like, they're just seen as like unable to achieve or receive the love that they so give themselves. And I think it's more of a choice, anything or any dynamic that you choose to be in. And love is not a feeling solely. It's definitely a choice. You know, you choose to stay with someone, whether they're making you feel happy or not, or making your life feel complete or not. You choose to be single, whether that works for you or it doesn't. But I'm somebody that chooses to be single and retract from too much sexual exchange because it simply doesn't feel right to me to just get into a dynamic just to settle or just accept some things that I just don't feel comfortable with in the long run. Regardless of past experiences or times where I was probably making unsavory choices or dealing with people that I knew was not healthy for me or for them or for both of us, I would rather be single than settle for the wrong type of man to somehow define my worth or actual beauty in hopes that people see that someone sees that I'm worth be loving or being with or etc. etc. You know, I would rather wait and take my time and not be in a race or a rush or try to prove so bad that I'm somebody that I already know that I am.
And really, again, more than half the time, people know where and who to place their energy with, or in, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people are really good at detecting very early signs of like abuse or humbling tactics or like something that could end up really deadly or toxic because just simply for love. Like I said, there's a spiritual war, and you better really use your faith and love God and just, I dare I say, kill people with kindness, because it's so sad how the lengths people will go to be right or feel like they can prove you wrong or like they can make you look bad.
And yeah, self-love is not only loving yourself and hating others. It's definitely a necessary and healthy act of nurturing your own well-being to be better for others eventually, or at the same time. Like, you can do two things at once, or you could love yourself and, you know what I'm saying, love others. But if you're somebody that knows that your well-being and your mental health and your spiritual health is something that you need to put a lot of emphasis and tunnel vision on. There's nothing wrong with, knowing that and then applying the work that you need to do on yourself to be there for yourself and others, and not let somebody rush you into being with them sexually or romantically or physically, even friendships, like people that make you feel like you're a bad person if you're just not giving them attention and love that they crave and can't give themselves. And that's not to say that they're a bad person either. It's just necessary for people to be able to do that for themselves and not make somebody feel like it's a chore. And yeah, like I said, self-love is not just only loving yourself. It's got nothing to do with a cruel disregard for others, and it shouldn't be translating as being cruel to others when you're respectful about where you put your time and energy into for most of the day or most of your within a certain time frame. Real love, just period, should feel freeing and actually nurturing, even if it's from a distance. It shouldn't feel like somebody in your face 24/7, validating you 24/7, making you feel like it's them or nobody else. And it shouldn't feel like if you care, you would do insert here, you would do insert there. You shouldn't have to teach somebody how to love you in the first place. You should already understand it and feel it.
This angle or this way, or from this angle and from this way, and bring up things from just unnecessary past experiences and like times in life where you probably didn't feel your best and people just want to keep you there, like, because they're still there, and or they just can't get out of their own misery, and it's like crabs in a barrel. Like, if you look like, you're okay, some people love it and some people hate it.